And a good evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you on this Thursday night. We're grateful to have everybody, and we've got some breaking news that we've got going on tonight. And we've got our dear friend James Akers on the line with us, and it's so good to see him, buddy. It was really good seeing you last week up in Ohio, and grateful to see you again tonight. And just want to tell everybody what we've got going on. We've been told just in the last hour, probably not even the last hour, I'd say in the last 30 minutes, they have found the suspect in the Brown University shooting dead by suicide. They found him in a locker room up in New Hampshire tonight, and there are reports that he may be the actual person that killed the MIT professor as well after he took out those two students over the weekend at Brown. There's been a manhunt for them, for this individual since this weekend, and it's been basically just a buffoon show up in Rhode Island with these police chiefs and the way that they've handled this investigation. But James, I want to welcome you to the show tonight and get your take on that, and we're going to talk about some other things tonight. But man, I tell you what, they're hiding his identity. We do know this tonight. He wasn't an American citizen. They've confirmed that he is not an American citizen, which tells us he's illegal, and it's very likely, if not probable, he's Muslim, but we're going to wait and see about that. But that shouldn't shock us, because that's the world we live in America right now, isn't it?
Absolutely, Chris. Good being with you and your audience tonight. But, it seems like they're suppressing. I heard one report that several students that were witness to the shootings at Brown said that he was yelling a traditional Muslim chant that follows the murder of infidels. And then there's a curious report coming out of Israeli newspapers, I don't know how true it is, that, this murder of the physicist at MIT was sort of in an Iranian operation to get even for all of the nuclear scientists that have been wiped out by the Israelis in Iran.
Really?
So,
wow. Boy, that would be a bombshell, would it not be? So there
it would be. I don't know if there's a grain of truth in it, but just the fact that we live in that sort of world where that's even plausible says everything.
Well, the report out of Breitbart tonight, and we'll show it here in a minute, and Gateway Pundit both, is that they're saying there was a link between the two shootings, and we don't know. Again, we're just going on what we're hearing on the news wires right now, but this is just breaking within the last few minutes. But James, if that's what you're saying is true, that opens up a can of worms, because does that mean that the Iranians were on our soil doing something as a proxy of a terrorist country that we just bombed back in the summer? I mean, would that not be an act of war, in your opinion?
Well, it certainly opens up a number of possible responses that the government would take if there's any shred of credibility to that. And again, it's a Jewish report coming out of Israel, so I don't know how much credibility to attach to it. I want to be careful there.
Right.
But it is interesting nonetheless.
Well, it is. What's your gut on that? Do you think that is plausible, or do you think it's more likely this guy was somebody here in America that wasn't supposed to be here and just had some anti-Semitic? Because he was shouting Ali Akbar, and they have done their best to hide that from the public. They have done everything they can to make sure that his identity and his background is not revealed. And that every time they do this, James, it just drives it. The public. We just want truth. We can handle it. What's the news flash that Muslims are walking around the country killing Jews and killing Americans? That's what the Muslims do. not all of them, but that's the Muslim MO. No, not all Muslims are terrorists, but James, we cannot escape this fact. Over the last 30 years, all terrorists have been Muslim. It's a hotbed of jihadism that is overriding America right now and the world.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
world.
As much as the left wants to make this sort of false moral equivalency that there's also terrorism within right-wing groups and this, that, and the other. But you cannot deny what happened in Australia at Bondi, where, Jews celebrating Hanukkah were massacred, and what followed, sort of this hollow apology by leftists that had been fully supporting all of these street demonstrations, that lifted up Hamas and these other groups in terms of Gaza. It just sort of turns your stomach, and then it's made worse in my view, by the mainstream media, which acts as though there is no Muslim angle to any of these crimes at all.
That is correct.
It's crazy.
Well, we're getting a report. I'm looking at the sources right now out of Gateway Pundit tonight. It looks like he's from Portugal, and it was the same country that the MIT professor who was killed is from. That's from Ted Daniel tonight. That's a law enforcement source. Now, again, these are all things we cannot sustain and clarify tonight. We'll see how this plays out. But even the Portugal tie, James, is curious, because is not Portugal another, I've been hearing that nation has gone full-fledged jihad. Spain's going full-fledged jihad. So would that sort of bear the marks of a jihadist attack? And you can't escape if he was shouting Ali Akbar. He's Muslim. I don't care if he's from Portugal, Spain, Europe, France, Paris, or wherever. Muslim's a Muslim, period. It doesn't matter where they're from.
That's assuming that there's a link between the two crimes. Because the MIT professor, which was a by all accounts just a brilliant scientist,
He was.
Was Portuguese, and if his murderer was Portuguese, and there's not a completely clear nexus with the murders at Brown, then all of the investigation takes on sort of a different dimension, I would think.
How do you think the Rhode Island officials have handled this? I think they have done a shabby job. I think that they have tried their best to put a spin on this, a face. When the police chief said Tuesday night that he shouted something, we're not dummies out here. We're not all Ogies from Muskogees, and we've not all fallen off turnip trucks, as we say in the South. We are a little bit smarter than this. They know what he shouted. Why don't they just tell us? I go back to what I said earlier tonight. We can handle it. We're Americans, we get it. But don't lie to us. Don't lie to us, because all this does is just add to the crazies. It adds to the theories. It adds to the conspiracy talk. And God knows we've got enough of that right now already. We don't need it anymore. And it just seems to me that if they would just come clean with this stuff and say, okay, this is what we know. He was shouting Ali Akbar. We're looking for a guy. Evidently, he's got Muslim ties. We don't know where he's from. We don't know if he's a citizen. We don't know who he is, but we're going to find him. But he was shouting Ali Akbar. James, that's just common sense to me. I think we can handle that. You can handle that. I can handle that. Am I correct?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. But we're in a 24/7 news cycle that is all about narrative rather than giving news to people that can make their own decisions about what the news says, and so it's been decided by the media hierarchy in New York and on the East Coast that the average American person is too dumb to handle the truth, and so we're going to feed them narrative all the time. Instead of facts for them to make up their own minds. And we're starting to see the results of that. You asked about how the Brown University officials have handled this. They went into almost immediately CYA mode.
Oh, absolutely.
Whereas before the murders, they were fully supportive of all sorts of Muslim demonstrations, pro-Palestinian demonstrations. Now they're trying to backtrack and take off, erase off of social media any reference to those sorts of things, and it's just blatantly apparent that this effort, especially in higher academics, to appease the Muslims, is failing. It's just not bearing the fruit that they hoped it would bear.
Right. And we're showing the Gateway Pundit article right now. This is just within the last hour. It's at around 8 p.m. tonight. Found him inside a New Hampshire storage unit, gunshot wound, self-inflicted, and several Twitter handle followers, ex-followers, and ex-posters have put things out there. Ted Daniels says a law enforcement source tells the Brown University shooting suspect is not a U.S. citizen, but a legal permanent resident. I don't know what that means these days. But let me ask you this. Where does this leave the country? And I want to get your take, if you don't mind tonight, on what happened over the weekend. We haven't talked since the Australian attack down at Bondi Beach, and people may or may not know this tonight, but today the Australian authorities stopped another caravan of terrorists. There were 7 of them that were going back down there. It was a fresh attempt to basically attack Jews again, because the Hanukkah goes all week. It's an 8-day festival. They attacked the Hanukkah festival. The first day was Saturday, going into Sunday. Tonight we're on night 4 or 5. So they were going to do it again, Jeemes. And then you've got this maybe terrorist attack or threat that we had in L.A. that was stopped. The FBI found the bomb makers out in the Mojave Desert, of all places, in Southwest California. I mean, this is. I mean, I got a dear friend, Jason Miller. He says you can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. That we got bomb makers under our nose for people planning attacks on American soil, Australian soil. We've got this Brown shooting. We've got the California couple last weekend that had their house shot up simply because they had a Hanukkah display. And, Jeemes, this is a rapid, just a virulent onslaught of terror. And, Brady, I'm going to tell you something. You know, I hear this a lot. I had Eric Karen on Tuesday night, our buddy, former federal agent, and he's always telling me it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And that if is getting closer, brother. That when is getting closer to something bigger, and I'm thankful tonight the FBI was on alert for us here in America, because I think that this is just the start. And these holidays tend to bring these crazies out, don't they?
Yes, and it coincides with a really dangerous trend that we have talked about on this show on a handful of occasions. This rise of anti-Semitism, which is at its root a spiritual movement, is just absolutely scary. And if you combine that with sort of an attitude of the press where they just sort of cover their ears. No, I don't want to see it. No, I don't want to see it. No, I don't want to see it. You have the seeds for disaster in this country. The citizenry has to be informed of the true threat. I would suggest, and we are not being informed of the nature of the true threat. And I have always been of the opinion that because of lax immigration policies and other things, that there are probably any number of cells in this country that are just sort of waiting a green light from the Middle East to wreak havoc from one ocean to the other.
Would you be surprised if we had something happen between now and New Year's?
I would not be at all surprised. There, and we're talking about a global phenomenon. So I would not be surprised if there isn't a major incident in Europe. I would not be surprised if there's some sort of incident here as well.
Well,
it's that sort of world, and it's that sort of threat that probably 50% of the country doesn't even acknowledge as a threat. That's what is bothersome to me.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And look, the response to the terrorist attack down under has been hideous by Albanese. He's not declared it as a jihadist attack yet. He's not made it Muslim. His theory is what Joe Biden's was for 4 years, that the greatest threat to America was right-wing extremism. And that's what Albanese is out there doing. He's trying to equate what happened in Bondi Beach with a bunch of crackers on the right side that in their world is more of a threat than jihadists strapped with bombs. And even this today, there's been very little said by the Australian government about it. And thank God for X. Thank God Jack Dorsey's not in charge of it anymore, because that'd be clamped down. But, there's a flow of ideas. There's a lot of freedom now on X that wasn't before. And James, look, if it wasn't for this alternative media that we've got out here tonight, most of this would be put under the rug. And that's why people are turning the news media off. And they're turning their government off. They're not listening to what the government says. They don't trust him. They don't trust him past this camera that's within my arm's reach tonight. And I don't blame them. And I think what you said a while ago, because we're getting lied to, and it's going to get people killed, James, ultimately. It's going to get people killed. It's already getting people killed. Already.
Yeah, it's just a dangerous world we're living in that I would not have imagined 10 years ago that there would be rampant anti-Semitism in this country. That you would have authorities stand by and in some cases encourage street demonstrations in support of an openly terrorist group that had just murdered Israeli citizens, and rejoice in it. They're just rubbing it in our faces. It is. I would have never thought that it would have happened so quickly.
We talked about this when we saw you last weekend, and a lot of things are happening very quickly. And we know this anti-Semitism is coming from so many different sources, but James, a lot of it's coming from the church. A lot of it's coming from people behind pulpits and people with an animosity toward Israel that, I've never seen. And I had a family member visiting today, and we were talking about the fact that, these Free Palestine people, many of them are LGBTQ groups, and they are basically screaming against Israel, calling Israel an apartheid state, genocidal, baby killers, every name in the book. And they do not realize that if they were in Palestine tonight, they would probably have their heads cut off. And if they were in Israel tonight, Israel would not be doing that. Israel would allow them to basically do what America allows these enemies to do. That our freedom of the speech, while it's one of the greatest aspects of our Constitution, it's been used against us, James. The freedom of the press has been used against us. They're using our Constitution, our own Constitution, to tear this nation to pieces. And they're doing the same thing in Israel in many ways, because Israel don't hang homosexuals. The Arab world does, because Islam calls for it. And this is the thing that you just shake your head at. And there's no moral clarity by anybody right now out there, because there is just so much hate and so much rabid anti-Semitism, like you're saying. And that's a little soapbox for you. But I do want to ask you, am I correct on that?
Well, if you're incorrect, then I'm incorrect as well. I see it pretty much in the same terms. This whole notion of anti-Semitism, and we expect sort of a lash up between neo-Marxist thought and anti-Semitic elements. That's to be expected. What has been surprising is within the conservative movement, a number of these ideas that are emerging that are blatantly anti-Israeli, and those are real head scratchers. That has started. That whole concept is starting to gain traction. I realize that there's an argument to be made differentiating, God's people in Israel from Zionism. I get that. I get that effort to make that difference and draw that distinction. But at the end of the day, what we're starting to see, even in conservative circles, which to me is very disconcerting, a sort of subtone of anti-Semitism that's gaining some traction.
Well, it's gaining a lot of traction, and you've got people in the halls of Congress that are pushing it. You got 42 Muslims that have been elected this year to office, including the Lieutenant Governor of Virginia. You've got a Muslim mayor about to take over New York City. He put a lady in charge today that she's got nothing but a rabid trail of hate, law enforcement, defund the police, I hate Israel, I hate the world, blank the Jews, blank the police, Israel's an apartheid state. These are the people about to take over, James, because, and I'm not trying to say that it's everybody, but this country don't vote. This country don't take stock in what we're doing. And we're going to keep messing around, man. And, I've always said this. If you lose your freedom, once we lose our freedoms, you're not getting them back. It's better to fight for them while you've got them and that you're able to fight. And I'm not talking about going to the street with guns and so forth. But what I am saying is that we've got to be diligent at those polls. We've got to be diligent, holding our officials accountable to what they're pushing, what they're saying. And there's just none of that. I mean, I don't think people care. And, Eric made a great point Tuesday night, and he said, look, we're so distracted by everything but the things that are important. We're distracted by sports. We're distracted by the holidays. We're distracted by entertainment. We're distracted by our wealth and our, ease of living here in this country. And while we've got an enemy that is getting ready to destroy every one of us, it's like we're deaf to it. And it's scary. Because you can't stop that. I mean, that's something you can't fix. That's got to be fixed in people's hearts, correct?
Well, yeah, I think we're just sleepwalking towards disaster. And you can see it coming. And we're closer to the end than the beginning of our lives, but I am so concerned about the country and the culture and the dysfunction that we're seeing and how it's going to grow over the next 10 years and how it's going to affect my grandchildren. They are not going to live in the same country that we were brought up in. And, unless God miraculously intervenes, which he's going to one way or another, I have concern for the America that my grandchildren are going to live
Well,
in. Don't you?
James, I'm worried about the America me and you going to live in right now, man. Look, I love my grandkids. My grandkids are 5, 4, 3, and 1. I don't think it's going to be 10 years, man. I think me and you better be worried about the America we're living in tonight, because this thing is off the rails. And again, I look at the landscape, and there just seems to be no end to this. You've got this fraud in Minnesota. You've got a absolutely feckless demonic media that is lying every day. They're doing everything they can to tear this government down, to tear Trump down, to tear America down, to wink at this lawlessness. You got this judge situation where you've got every judge in the world letting these people back out in the street that are killing, raping, maiming, pushing fentanyl. And then you've got, of all things, Congress people, instead of rejoicing in the fact that we're blowing narco terrorists out of the water and keeping drugs out of the country, they're wanting to put Trump in jail, claiming that he's arbitrarily murdering people that are just fishermen in the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean. James, that's something that me and you, that's not 10 years down the road, brother. That's gonna destroy us right now. We're not gonna be around in here in 10 years if that stuff keeps going.
No, and at the same time, with the deterioration, especially the growing lack of confidence in our institutions, be they judicial, legislative, or executive. You have a church that is sitting on its hands, and it should be the instrument of revival and regeneration in this culture, and it is doing nothing. It is sipping the Kool-Aid, and there is little difference between the church and the culture, both of which are heading toward the cliff.
No, we're headed for the cliff. I'm with you there totally. I do want to ask you a question. If there is a confirmation, okay, if there is a confirmation that this guy that they found dead tonight at Brown is tied to that MIT professor, and there is an Iranian tie, what do you think is going to happen with this government? What do you think America does? Do you think Trump? I put it like this: if that is the case, if there is an Iranian tie, what does this do to our foreign policy with Iran right now? Is that lighting the fuse for us to see maybe some more action in the Middle East before this year's out?
Well, that's a possibility, but the signs of that are not all of that encouraging. The American diplomacy in the Middle East these days sort of under the spell of Witkoff and Kushner, has been to demean the relationship with Israel and to enhance our ties with some of these Arabic states. And we continue with this delusion that is generations old now in Washington, D.C., that somewhere we can find moderate Muslims that will behave more like Americans than they will the jihadists, and there's no there, and so where would be the support for Trump taking strong action in Iran? I just don't see it, and I'm not sure that with the drift of things right now that Trump is inclined to do that, even if there's an Iranian tie found. And I also there's it's always interesting to me that these murderers that we would really like to get and interview, that there's such a high rate of suicide among these murderers. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Well, they're always cowards, James. They do these acts and then they kill themselves, and it just again it leaves a trail. Now, speaking of Trump, I got to ask you this. I'm going to be curious how you come down on this. We got into a discussion about this Tuesday night. It came up in the chat, and somebody asked a question about legalized marijuana. And today, President Trump made a declaration in the White House that the government is redefining it. He's not legalizing it, but it seems like that the trend is that they're going to ease restrictions on this marijuana, whether it's medical or whatever. And look, I don't have no problem coming down on this. I know there's some people out here that don't agree with this, and I've heard this debate go back and forth that, well, if it's going to help somebody, then we should use it. Chris McDonald's opinion is that when we are legalizing something that's killing people, because there's nothing in marijuana that's helping the soul, and the effects of this are far worse. The dangers of it and the addiction power of it is far worse. And I made the case Tuesday night that most people that wind up on deeper drugs, James, usually start out as pot smokers, and they think it's innocent. They think the pot is innocent. They get that high, and then they want a bigger high, and then they want a bigger high, and a bigger high. It's just a revolving door, and that's the power of sin. That's the power of addiction. That's the power of drugs. And for this nation to be legalizing it and redefining it is wrong. I do not agree. I did not like what the president chose to do today. And I mean, I know he's got reasons for it, and it's not that I don't like President Trump. I love President Trump, but I don't think it was a good move today. And I think there was a million other things that he could give his attention to. And I'm just curious how you feel about this, because I do not believe it's good. If you look at the states that have legalized marijuana and you look at what's happened to those states, James, nothing good has come out of that. Nothing. None of these states that have done this, nothing good has come from it.
Now, Chris, just move over on that soapbox. I'm right there with you. It's a gateway drug to other things.
Yes, it is.
And to close your eyes to that reality, and even it's starting to come out now that some of this research and the like, it's not showing the results they thought it would in terms of having a positive medical purpose behind it. That a lot of that's been exaggerated for public consumption and to push the narrative that marijuana is really okay, especially in those cases where it helps medical cases where it helps people. The research starting to show that's sort of a false narrative.
It's a false narrative. It's always been false, James, and that's how if you think about it, what's the lie about abortion? Abortion saves the mother. That that we need abortion because of rape, incest, and people that are the babies are deformed. And that's less than 0.00001% of all babies born. But that's how the pro-death people push abortion on us. And then you've got this crowd with these drugs, and they make that same argument you just made. Well, it's good for people, and it helps people medically. No, it don't. It's a gateway drug. Jenny Castellanova tonight, bang, on job, what you just said. And you said it. It's a gateway drug to deeper, darker drugs. I've never known a drug addict, James, in my life that has not started smoking pot. They all start with the stuff that they think is innocent, and before you know it, they're strung out on cocaine, fentanyl, and meth, and every other drug under the sun. And then we have this lie that is pushed on the American people, and sadly, many believe it. Many Christians believe it, man. I've had Christians argue with me about this and tell me, you're just narrow-minded, McDonald, and this stuff is great. We need pot to clear people's minds. No, we don't. No, we need Jesus to clear people's minds tonight. We sure don't need marijuana and CBD, do we?
No, I agree absolutely, and I think they're going to start. We will start seeing figures that in terms of impaired driving deaths, that the number associated with alcohol is going down, but the number associated with marijuana and similar is going up, and so it's rather than it being a health cure, it's turning out to be the exact opposite, and you add to that the gateway dimension of it, and I just think that it's certainly spiritually speaking, it's a disastrous policy to pursue, and I think in terms of health and safety issues, that it's not a good policy to pursue either.
Well, John, I'm going to go ahead and say it, and I can get I'll let me get back on my soapbox a minute. And I'm speaking as a man of faith tonight, and I'm speaking as a teacher of the Bible and a minister of the gospel, and I'm speaking as a talk show host. I'm speaking as a human being, but I'm speaking eternally. I want somebody to stand before God one day and look at the Lord and tell the Lord. I wonder, when you get down to how God views this, I want people to argue. Please argue before the Creator that mind-altering drugs, I don't care if it's pot, CBD cigarettes, gummies. I was listening to a host tonight on Fox, and, he was sort of wavering on whether this was good or bad, but he said, I took one of those CBD jelly beans or those gummy bears the other day. He said it whacked him out for about a week. He couldn't think straight for a week. I want people to argue that before the Creator one day, that that's good for humanity, that was good for the states that did it. Let me tell you something. I don't want to be on the wrong side of anything with God. And I don't think God is on the side of illegal drugs being made legal in this country. We got enough fentanyl, meth deaths to begin with, do we not? That's why we're blowing these narco-terrorists out of the water to keep this stuff off the country, to keep it out of the country, and we're growing it within.
Yeah, the spiritual baseline is that any time that you have to enhance the way that God designed the human brain to work, I think you're on dangerous spiritual grounds.
Jeannie's making a good point. She says it's disturbing seeing how many shops are open for business pushing these intoxicants and the garbage. And, Kathy and I were driving down the street the other day, even when we left you this weekend, when we saw you last week, just our little journey from your place back down to where we was at near the Ark, James, there was probably 30 shops. And even here in East Tennessee, which is one of the most conservative parts of the country, man, they're on every corner. And this has just happened in the last 5 years, 4 years. And there's nothing that's good in there, but people are doing it. And the supply always matches the demand. And that's what scares me, buddy, is the demand of this stuff. People are craving it. Are we not messed up already in the head in this country? I don't mean that to be funny, but we're already meth-induced, man. We got people living like a bunch of zombies.
Well, the fact is that the biggest cash crop in Kentucky is marijuana.
Really?
Yes.
No wonder Rand Paul was acting so stupid and Thomas Massey. I just figured it out, man. You just helped me figure out Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. They're doped up. And Mitch McConnell.
There's, I have never seen so many, cannabis shops and all of that. It's just like mushrooms that have started popping up out of nowhere. It's crazy, the economic dimension to this thing. There are people making big money off of getting people hooked. That's what it amounts to.
Yep. Well, anyway, that's interesting. What do you think of the decision today? I actually we started on our soapboxes, and I didn't get you to answer the question. What do you think of Trump doing this today? I'm curious.
Well, I guess I have a different understanding of what the decision was. I thought it was that marijuana was to be limited to medical research purposes. That's what I thought the decision was. I may be completely wrong about that.
Yeah, well, it says he redefined it, and I mean, to his credit, to the president's credit, he sort of made it clear that this is a dangerous trend of this legalization of it in these states, and he told people this is not an endorsement for you to go out and get high on pot. And look, I don't care what people are out there saying tonight. I see a few comments about, well, this person needs to take it. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. No, they don't. And I totally disagree. And, I'm not going to argue the point. You want to get doped up and take marijuana, smoke up. As my brothers, we got to say it in the McDonald household, Jeemes. When we don't like something, smoke up, Johnny. Smoke up. If you want to smoke up, But Chris ain't smoking up, and Chris ain't going to endorse it. And Chris is telling you it's wrong. And it don't need to be having, I don't care who you are. And I'm going to get going here tonight and get myself in trouble. All right.
Chris, for what it's worth, and we may be the only two people in the country that feel this way, I think you're right.
I'll go to my grave believing that this is never going to be good for anybody that's doing it. I'm sorry. I don't care what they're doing it for, because it is a crock of crap. It is a crock and a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a crutch to claim that this is medically useful, because all it does is gives people a green light to use it to destroy their minds and their bodies and their souls. And I'll just leave it at that. Listen, what do you think about the situation with Trump and the narco-terrorists blowing these guys out of the water? There's been some more of this. We talked about this last week. Are you on board with what he's doing with these boats? I am. I am 1,000,000% on board with what he's doing. I have no problem with it. I think it's a national security threat. And I tell you what, James, these boats are not going out there fishing for catfish in the Caribbean. Okay, they're not. I mean, you see the white powder in the back of the boat. Even us Southerners, and we Southerners, we're gullible. We're just a bunch of calm people. You tell us Southerners anything, we better probably believe it. But even Chris McDonald can look at that boat and say, that ain't no fishing vessel. That's a drug boat. That's a cartel boat.
That's no John boat that's floating out there. All of these boats are expensive, top-end technological, designed to evade Coast Guard and other things. I think that the president has the full authority to go after narco-terrorists from South America that are trying to import fentanyl, which gets into this country and kills the young people of this country. I think as a president, he has the right to do that. And for the opposition to say that he doesn't have the right to do it, to me, just implies that if they were in power, they wouldn't have the guts to do it.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. And let me tell you something. Me and you discussed this last week. Trump is the only president in my lifetime. That goes back to Jimmy Carter, Ford. Nixon was probably the first president. I was about 7 or 8 when Nixon resigned from office. So that was about the time that I started understanding life in the country, about the presidents and so forth. Ford, Carter, Reagan, Clinton, or Bush Jr., Sr., then Clinton, Bush Jr., and then, of course, Obama, and now Trump, with Joe Biden thrown in there. But, James, in my lifetime, there's been no president. Reagan didn't even do this, and I love Reagan, but he didn't even confront these cartels like Trump's doing it. And I give him a lot of kudos tonight. I salute him for doing this. This is long overdue. This should have been done by every president we've had. They should have never let Colombia get a foothold in the Caribbean. They should have never let Venezuela get to the place it's gotten. But they've let this drug monster become the monster it has, and it is killing hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in this country. Eric Caron gave us a figure Tuesday night This drug industry is $1 trillion industry, buddy. Can you imagine that kind of money? $1 trillion, but that's almost gross national product levels that people are buying this stuff. And I go back to what I said a while ago. You got to cut two things off in this drug situation. You got to cut off the source of where it's coming from, and you got to cut off the demand for it. And until we cut off the demand for it, that's why they're sending these drugs over here. And that's why our law enforcement officers tonight, we need to pray for them because they got their hands full, man. This is a time bomb going off in our country.
I couldn't agree more, Chris. I applaud. Now there are a lot of things I disagree with Trump on, but in terms of his decision for America to act like the America it is, and to start taking these tough moral stands against this stuff, where we've just turned a blind eye to it for so long. I'm in this specific policy. I agree with him 100%. He has every right to use the military to keep drugs from coming into this country.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Now that we've ticked off all the marijuana users tonight, anything else you got to say about what's going on in the country, Akers? Merry Christmas. I should have put my Santa Claus hat on for this one tonight. Good Lord have mercy, man. Where's our country going? We just got a bunch of meth-induced, I swear, some of this stuff that's going on in the country. I mean, we wake up our news headlines and we see all this crazy stuff and we wonder why the country's going crazy. Because it's doped up, man. It's doped up. But wrap us up. You got about 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Wrap us up on some final thoughts tonight, man. This hour's going by quick.
Yeah, a part of the problem is that we make decisions on an emotional basis. We all know so and so that's been hooked on drugs or smokes pot recreationally or whatever, and they're really sort of decent people, and we sort of feel sorry for them. Instead of taking a hard spiritual stand, well, what does the Bible say about these things?
That's exactly right, buddy. Go on.
What kind of standard should we be applying to this situation? It is not feeling sorry for people. That is the standard we should apply. It is what is righteous and what is right to do. And when the government does that and acts on that basis, I support them completely. When they drift from that to other things, then I have a problem with that. But the problem this country has, Chris, and I think you'll agree with me absolutely, is a Jesus Christ problem.
Absolutely, buddy. Absolutely.
And people do not want to admit that. Again, emotions get in the way. Well, you can't say that there's an absolute way to live eternal life or whatever because, so-and-so is really basically a decent person, and we use that basis for evaluation rather than a spiritual, biblical standard of things. And I'm sorry, I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me saying that, but it's absolutely the truth.
Jeemes, do you see any end of this anti-Semitic rage that's going on in our nation and the world? We had Cleo on Monday night from Down Under, and her nation is being racked. I mean, just rocked with this right now. This terrorist attempt today has gone very unnoticed. The X accounts have pretty much reported it, but the media at large has said very little about this second attempt today Down Under that would have been probably as bad, if not worse, as the attack this weekend. They're not stopping. And I do have to ask you a question before I leave. How concerned are you that we have the willpower in America to identify Islam as an enemy instead of our friend? Because that is a starting point of safety. That's a starting point of survival. Because you do not let the fox into the hen house. You do not let an enemy in your border that vows in their holy book to kill the Jews and kill the Christians. First the Saturday people, then the Sunday people. They're coming after Americans next. And a lot of people that hate Israel in this country do not realize that Israel's enemies are our enemies. They're the same. They're the same. But we're betraying our friend. We're betraying the only friend we've got in the Middle East. They're not perfect. There's a lot of things I don't agree with their government about, but there's a lot of things I don't agree with my own government about. And we all need to understand that. But it's like we simply cannot stop putting the knife up Israel's back. I got to ask you something. I thought about it. I'll keep you a few more minutes. You're not got nothing to do but eat your popcorn, drink your milk and cookies tonight, and watch a terrible movie on TV or something. So let me ask you about Qatar while I got you. What do you think about all this Qatari stuff where Trump is basically scolding Israel for killing a top Hamas leader and then basically almost giving a nod to Qatar, and they're overtaking our country? We got a Qatari invasion too, along with Somalia and the jihadists. They're coming into the White House. I do not agree with this, James. I don't.
No, I don't either. Now, one of the very interesting things to watch, Chris, is right now going on in Yemen, where you have the Qataris, UAE, and the Saudis on different sides of a civil war.
Really?
Interesting. Yes. And that will be very interesting to watch. Of course, you're not going to get much news on it. You have to go to other channels to get any information on it at all. But I wrote a missive about the individual in Qatar that is in charge of the new technology wave in Qatar, with these huge data centers that are being built. The whole push behind that is one individual who is in the royal family. He is one of the Middle East region's most accomplished spy masters, and he is in charge of Qatari technology. Has made several trips. His emissaries making several trips to Washington, Silicon Valley, this, that, and the other. Is on a first name basis with all of the heavyweights of the industry. And the guy is an absolute player and has taken a kingdom that was just fit basically to provide sand for litter boxes, and making it a technology powerhouse. And that is what is attractive to the Jared Kushners and the Donald Trumps, and certainly the other people in the administration that are pushing for this Middle East money to come in and to fund all of these things. And there was a fascinating, since I've got on this soapbox, there's a fascinating article that just appeared, and it says which revolution is going to happen. Is it going to be an artificial intelligence revolution, or is it going to be a French revolution when there becomes such a disparity of wealth between this upper class that is just making money heads over heels with all these chips and the AI and this, that, and the other, and all of this investment that's going in, and there's an increasing wealth gap in this country. At one point is the tipping point when enough is enough, and Americans who are armed to the teeth, start to rise up. And the article was basically which revolution is going to prevail, and it was a fascinating article. I need to send it to you. I think you'd enjoy it.
We'd like that. I would like that a lot. But it's always a pleasure, and couldn't think of a better way to have a Thursday night than with our former CIA analyst and friend Jeemes Akers on the line with us. But I want to wish you a Merry Christmas. We'll try to get you on next week before Christmas. We're going to have shows Monday night, Tuesday night, so we'll probably talk to you again before the holiday. But just in case, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and your lovely wife. It was so good seeing y'all in person, and I appreciate it. And I stuck your picture out in my yard today, and it actually was growing. It was causing my grass to grow. So I just want to thank you. And
well, manure will do the same thing.
Yeah, I know that. I don't want to. I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to go there, man. I was trying to get a picture. Let me download it because a lot of people don't think I've ever seen you. But this is my buddy. This was us. We was. I guess it was Thursday. There we are. I've got our picture on the screen. That's my dear buddy. That's who we're talking to tonight. Former CIA analysis. We had a good time that day with you. And
we did. We absolutely did. And again, if you don't think I'm crazy enough, go to my website, JeemesAkers.com, JeemesAkers.com. And I've got a couple new missives out that I think are really interesting and people would enjoy the read.
All right. Well, I tell you what, when I learn to read, I will go and do that because there's rumors that McDonald don't know how to read. And this drug stuff, man, look, I'm telling you, I know that there is a lot of opinion, but I don't care what anybody says. It's not justifiable to me. And we're going to talk about that more next week. James, if you think about it, I'll let you go after this. The two most greatest dangers to our country right now, if you think about it, is AI and these drugs. Have you? Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
The very thing that you've been screaming about, especially the AI stuff over the last year, man. It's this danger is real, and it's killing us from within. And then you've got the jihadis, you've got the corruption in the media, the corruption in government. You got these corrupt judges. Brother, look, it's like Khrushchev said back in the 1960s, Russia's not going to have to fire a shot to destroy us. We're going to do it to ourselves. And I see that happening tonight, and it's sad to me because I love the United States. I'm an American, man. I don't want to see my country go down the toilet. I just don't, But anyway.
And one area, Chris, no, I agree with you absolutely. One area that I always look at is in convergence areas where trends that would seem to be disparate are coming together, and the AI and the Middle East, the Arabic mindset, all of a sudden are coming together, and we are blessing that union and that convergence. And in it, I think there is danger in the future for our country. So
but it's here. It's not in the future. I go back to what you said a while ago. It's not 10 years, bro. We better be concerned about minding your generation. We may not make it out of this alive right now. I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know if it's going to be 10 years. We got 10 years myself. But listen, man, I love you as a brother, and I appreciate you. And it was so good seeing you last week. And we'll see you again very soon, and may the Lord bless you. Thank you for being with me tonight. Good discussion, as always, and I appreciate you much, man.
Enjoyed doing it, Chris, and it was so good seeing you and your wife. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We need to do that more often than we do.
We do. I'll agree with that, and we will next year. God bless you, friend, and we'll have a good night now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Jeemes Akers, everybody, put some fire in that house. That's my dear buddy. We got to see him last week, and He always tells me, you're always on the soapbox, McDonald. You're always on the soapbox. Of course I am. This is the McFiles. What do you expect? Hey, we got a record audience over there in X tonight. I don't know what brought all the folks out, but we're grateful you're here. We wish you could come every night like this. And we are so wonderfully blessed to have you tonight. If this is your first time, pardon the cray-cray. This is I'm a Southern guy from Tennessee, and if some of you know our show, some of you don't, but we have guests like Jeemes Akers on. He's a former CIA analyst all the time, and just interesting stuff goes on this network, and we have a good time. And we're having a good time tonight. All righty, I'm going to let you talk now. I've been talking with Jeemes, and I'll let you have your say, and I'm going to make a few comments about some of the comments. And Mark, Jason, I love you to death, but I disagree with your statement on marijuana, and I'll just leave it at that. You can say there's no treatment except for that. I disagree. If there's no cure for it, why do you want to put death into your body to add to more death? Now, if Montel Williams wants to do that, that's Montel's choice. But just because Montel Williams does it, don't mean it's right. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to kill people. I'll stand beside what I say. I love you. You know you're my brother. But we're going to have to disagree on this one. There is no justification for marijuana being legalized in this country. Now, if people want to go take it freely and voluntarily and puff up and bring that and inhale that death into their body, nobody can stop them from doing that. Montel, if that's what he wants to do, and he feels like that's the only thing that can cure him of muscular dystrophy, which, by the way, that's not the thing that can cure him from muscular dystrophy. If Montel found Jesus, he would find out that Jesus is a great healer. Jesus won't do it with marijuana. Jesus will do it with the touch of his hand. So I don't mean this to be disrespectful. I'm being very kind, because my wife would choke me to death if I start getting ugly with folks, and I'm not going to do that. So I'm not going to say this to be ugly. But you can't cure death with death. And that's what people are doing. I will go to my grave believing there is nothing good that comes from that drug. Nothing. Mark, I'm going to give you something to think about. Jenny's mentioned it tonight about the numerous shops that are coming up. People, you get a CBD vape, you got this vaping, you got a vape shop on every corner. You've got cigarette. Now they have hid the dangers of nicotine. It used to be you had to have a cigarette, puff that cigarette, inhale that death into your lungs, and then Philip Morris got sued for billions of dollars, and the cigarette industry sort of went away. So what did the devil do? He offered the world an alternative that's just as deadly, if not more deadly, and that's vaping. And I've heard people have come down with cancers from vaping, but it's being presented as a safer alternative than cigarettes. No, it ain't. It's worse because it's chemicals. And I look at the same thing with marijuana. Now, this is my opinion, and I know that it's not shared by some out there, and it's okay. But that's how I feel. And there is nothing good that comes of it. And for us to legalize it, look at the states that have legalized it, and you heard Jeemes Akers tonight, and I'm with him 1,000,000%. All of this medical research that was out there claiming it was beneficial, now they're finding out that they're lying and they're not telling you the truth. Go figure. Go figure an industry that is killing people, not telling you the truth about the effects of the drug killing you. Go figure. That's the society we live in. We found out they were lying to us about COVID. They lied to us about the vaccines. They've been lying to us about everything. And we are shocked that they're lying to us about marijuana research. And I'm not going to beat this horse to death. If Montel wants to take it, he can take it. Chris ain't going to take it. And Chris is going to tell the world, you don't need to take it. And I'll leave it at that, bro. I love you, man. That's my opinion. All righty, anything else? What about free Palestine, Tasami? The only Palestine that is going to be free is from the river to the sea. The only river to the sea that the Palestinians are going to see is one day when Israel owns the Mediterranean Sea to the Euphrates River. That's the river to the sea that they're going to see one day. What about free Palestine? I don't know if that's a positive comment or negative. Don't bring no anti-Semitism in here. You will be escorted out. I'll just leave it at that. We don't put up with that here. There's other networks that will allow you to do that, but this ain't one of them. This ain't one of them. Carol Smith, great point. Great point. I don't want to talk to AI. I want a real person. I want a real person. Carol, you know, I'm so glad you said that. Have we not all thrown our phones down and used words that we had to repent of later when we call a company and we have to go through about 15 prompts to get to a human being? And the other night, we were at a Bojangles, and they were trying a AI order taker. And I knew the second the voice came on the screen that it was computer. And I talked into that machine 4 times, 5 times, 6 times. I finally get a human on. The human did worse than the computer because the whole order was messed up. I get to the window, and my lovely wife was with me, thank God, because Chris would have probably been lighting the torch to Bojangles. I'd have been on my knees afterwards saying some things I shouldn't have said because I was getting mad. And I was just laughing. And I should have checked my order. It was my fault. I didn't check the order. I got home, and there was nothing right about it. And all it needed was a human being. I call AT&T. I have to go through 6 minutes of prompts to get to one human. Everywhere we call. And I don't mean this to be ugly tonight. It's going to sound bad. But when you come on the phone and you have to press 1 for English and 2 for another language, it would be very nice when I press 1 for English that I get an English-speaking person on the phone. Just saying. Because I never get an English-speaking person on the phone. Chris hangs up, and I call back, praying to God I get an English-speaking person. Because I can't understand them. And they can't understand me, folks. I'm not judging them for this. They can't understand me. Because they're not American. Carol, your point is absolutely well taken. And this is the danger that we're facing. Everything is being so AI generated. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. There is pretty much videos out there right now that people are sharing out as truth. And they're AI generated. And they're claiming that this is truth and that's not truth. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's like my dad used to say, don't believe a thing you hear these days, and half of what you see is going to get to the point that we can't even believe what we're seeing. And AI is a great danger to this world. It's a great danger to this country. And, you know, look, they're already taking over your banking. They're taking over your medications. They're taking over everything. We can't talk to human beings anymore. I'm with you. I'm with you. 1,000,000%. I'm with you 1,000,000%. Anyway, Jason, buddy, good to see you. Why did God name his chosen nation Israel? To show the world he is real. Yes. Kate Brown, I believe they lied about the medications. I don't doubt that. Hey, Jason, if you want to call in, man, come on. Tell me if you can call in. Call in. I'll put you on tonight. I wasn't sure if you was off tonight, but if you're off, let me know, and I'll put you on the phone here in a minute. Good to see Deborah Linger in the house. Good to see everybody. Dennis, she says, are they now using marijuana in medications? I don't doubt that. I'm sure they are. Look, there ain't no telling what's in those medications, folks. There ain't no telling what's in those medications. We just got a messed up country right now. We just do. I mean, we need to pray for our country. I'm not giving up on America. I'm not giving up on us. But I tell you, we've got a serious challenge. I'll phrase it like this. We are facing some of the most serious challenges of any generation we've ever faced. I sort of disagree with this, that things today are no different than they were 50 years ago, that the dangers were the same. They're not. These dangers are foundational and they are literally coming from up within the country. They're not coming from without. You know, in the 70s and 80s, the great threat was Russia. The great threat was nuclear war. The great threat was somebody was going to get crazy and nuke us to death, and we were going to nuke the world. And every movie out there in the 80s was about nuclear war, and that went away. And Reagan, you know, was Bush, and nothing happened during those 8 years, and Russia crumbled under Reagan's strength. It was God, really, but God used Reagan to do this. And everybody was worried about that. And then the 90s rolled along, and the 2000s rolled along, and we had 9/11, and now it's Islam and all of this. And these were outside forces coming at us from without. This tonight that we're facing is not from without. It is from within. And that's what makes this more dangerous. Because when it's from within, to fix it, you've got to deal with within the country. And that's never good. That's never good. So I'll amen myself on that one. I'll amen myself. All righty. All righty. Cleo says all APs are determining that fake AI photos are authentic. It's very dangerous. It is very dangerous, Cleo, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And I'm going to tell you, that is the scary thing, because you don't know what's true. You don't know what's right. You don't know what's fake and what's authentic. And then people share out the fake, and it circles the internet. And look, one thing about the internet tonight, folks, one click, and that image is all over the globe. It is all over the world in about 5 minutes, if not less. And, you know, I've seen this even this week with this terrible tragedy in Bondi. By the way, Cleo did such an excellent job Monday night. Put some fire in that house for us. She did an outstanding job to giving us some insight of that Bondi attack. But even in the Bondi attack, Alan Ostrowski was Amir Tesfari. He posted a video of Alan's face, and it was bloody. And he had another post from his own X account of him in the hospital. He was injured in that attack over the weekend. Well, some genius, and I say that with quotations, it wasn't a genius, they put together an AI-generated video of a woman painting his face, took his face, and it looked like she was painting his face with red blood. And the headline of that was, "False Red Flag. They're mocking us, painting blood on their face, thinking that we can believe there was actually an attack on Jews in Australia this weekend." That video went boom around the world. And you had many people believe that he was faking the blood because of a fake image. And many Christians shared that out. Many anti-Semites shared it out. By the way, we ain't even talking about Candace Owens tonight. I'll get to Candace tomorrow night or Monday, because we're going to be here with you up to Christmas. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be here. We'll be late tomorrow night if we come on, but we're coming on. I think we're going to come on tomorrow night with all everything going on. But I gotta say something. I got the funniest thing, and let me read this. Erica Kirk delivers a clear jab at Candace Owens. Quote, "We have 25 countries represented here, plus Puerto Rico. Don't worry, guys. Egypt is not on the list." Here.
Don't worry, guys. Egypt is not on the list. Don't worry about that. But, oh, how funny. I say Egypt and my iPad turns on.
Yep. And for those of you that don't get the joke, and it's really a tongue-in-cheek thing, Candace Owens is out there scared to death that the Israelis are using Egyptian planes. They used Egyptian planes to kill Charlie, and she couldn't meet Erica because she was afraid some Egypt plane was going to shoot her down. It was just all this crazy. I'm so messed up. It's just a convoluted mess. I don't even know what all is right. But that was a little jab at Miss Owens. Good Lord help mercy on us. Good Lord, have mercy on us. Um, Jay, you says you missed the Turning Point Tucker speech on C-SPAN just as you were coming on, and says he's not an anti-Semite. Yeah, Jay, I'm sure he does. That's just like, yeah, well, I disagree. I disagree. He is. He's a rabid one. He's a rabid one. There's a lot of rabid ones out there. Anyway, I'll just leave that one alone. We'll address that. But, yeah. That's about like me saying I'm 30 and good looking. Anyway, it's good to see everybody in the house tonight. Good to see everybody in the house. All right, we got a few more minutes now. I've been going right at an hour. I'm going to give you another 10 minutes. Stephen says one day they're going to make fake IF photos to frame Christians and maybe use them in corrupt courts. Stephen, they're already doing that. They're already doing that. That I don't doubt. And by the way, folks, you speaking of Christianity, I think it was Miranda Devine or maybe Patricia Heaton today that I saw, and she said something to the effect, she said, you know, you can call Israel every name in the book in England, and you can post anything anti-Semitic in England, they're not going to do anything to you. You post anything against Muslims, you post anything pro-Christian, you post anything against mass immigration, they're going to come pick you up, and they're going to throw you in jail. You got this Irish situation, this Ireland teacher that stood up for the true identity of male and female. And, folks, they didn't give him just an 18-month or a 6-month sentence. They put him in prison for life. For life. In Ireland. That's coming here. And AI is going to be used, Stephen. I don't doubt to do that. That's why it's so dangerous. It is a danger to this country. Okay, let's see here. Anyway, let's see what we got over on Facebook tonight. Jenny says, earlier this year, a bulletin was issued in Albany, New York, that a student almost died because his vaping was laced with fentanyl. Jenny, that don't surprise me. You know, as I said, it's to me, it's like everything that used to be considered dangerous, like the cigarettes, and that's a great point. And then all of a sudden, the tobacco industry, or whatever that industry is, came out and said, well, we got an alternative that's not as dangerous as you taking that stick and that piece of wrapper wrapped up in tobacco, sticking it in your mouth and whew, like that, and those chemicals in those vapes are more dangerous to you than even that nicotine is. It's more addicting. Now, I got a dear loved one that does it. And it's not good. It's not good. I told him it's killing him. But they got flavors for it. He tells me, he says, well, I got flavors for this. There's flavors. It's good. It smells good. It tastes good. And there's flavors for it. I heard him talking to somebody in his family one night when they were doing it. And they said, we're going to order some. And he said, what flavor you want? And I was thinking, they got flavors for this stuff? But Jenny, your point should be probably taken very seriously. There is probably some of that stuff laced with fentanyl. That don't surprise me. And that's why stopping the fentanyl coming into our country is so important and so vital and so right. And President Trump doing it. And I'm proud he's doing it. I'm proud he's doing it. All righty. Anything else tonight? And Mark, you're right that the vaping never got tested by the EPA, so it is extremely dangerous, and we don't know what we do. That's true. Many don't. Many don't. All righty. Good to see everybody tonight. Just seeing if we got any other comments. Good mercy. Any other questions? Any other comments tonight? Good to see you. And Tim Neal, good to see you over there on Facebook tonight. I guess no more questions, so we're going to let you go. Listen, been grateful to have you tonight. Now, tomorrow, we start making our journey. This is the last time you'll see me in this chair for a month, at least in this location. We'll be at McDonald's South the rest of the holiday season. We're leaving for Israel January the 6th. We ask you to pray for us over there, and we'll be coming to you live at times we can, but we'll be here as much as we can. Of course, a week from tonight is the great night of Christmas, and I will put my Santa hat on as we go out of here tonight to tick off all the Christmas haters. We've ticked off all the marijuana lovers tonight, and we've ticked off all the jihadists, and now we're going to tick off the Christmas haters. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas. We will be back here tomorrow night, Lord willing, and we hope you enjoy Christmas season with your family, but we'll be back. We'll be here tonight, Monday night, Tuesday night, and then Wednesday, we're going to have a special Christmas Eve communion service over on our Faith Network, and we may air it here too. And then Thursday's Christmas. No broadcasting on Christmas. This is a day for your family. Friday is up in the air. We're not sure what we're going to do Friday after Christmas the 26th. We'll be back on the air that Sunday morning and that Monday night. And Sunday is always Faith Day. Wednesday's Faith Day on our network. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday will be New Year's, and we'll have a special New Year's Eve service on Wednesday. Along with our Faith show. And so we'll be here for the next 2 weeks. It'll be a little sporadic. And then we leave for Israel January the 6th, Tuesday, which is basically 2 weeks from this past Tuesday. 3 weeks, maybe. But yeah, 3 weeks. So it's getting close, and we encourage you to pray for us as we leave and visit the Holy Land, our first trip ever. Now, we're planning an October trip in 26 with you. And if you'd like to go with us, we'd encourage you to send us an email at McFilesPrayers@gmail.com or forum. It's probably forum would be the best page. Either one. Put Israel in the subject line. Serious inquiries. If you're seriously wanting to go, and we're going to get you some information here in the next few weeks and first of the year about how you can join us over there. It's going to be a great time, and I would love nothing better than you to come and be with us. We'll be in charge of that one. I'm going with another group this time to sort of look at the lay of the land and see how this is done, because I want to enjoy that part of the world with you at a later time next year and so forth. Listen, I've enjoyed being with you tonight. Jeemes Akers was great, wasn't he? And we hope that you enjoyed the show. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. And we're going to have a good show tomorrow night. We'll figure out something to talk about. The world's so crazy and messed up. I'm sure we'll have something to discuss. I'm sure we will have something to discuss. May the Lord bless you tonight. And let's see here. Anyway, yes, and let me see here. I'm going to just make sure. Okay. I was thinking Miller might be able to come, but that's all right. We can get Miller on soon. And some others. Listen, we love you tonight. We thank you for being with us tonight. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Put some fire in that house for the one and only Jeemes Akers. And we were so honored. Here is James. He was explaining the world to me at the table. When he does his hand like that, that's important. Here is us. That's Kathy and I. And his beautiful family. That was a friend from Cincinnati that they brought that's a fan of the show. And they gave us a nice gift. And I appreciate the little video he gave me. And we appreciate them. And we just had a good time with them last week. And this is my buddy right there. And good family. And his wife, Imogene, is a jewel. She's a former teacher. And that's all four of us right there. And anyway, I just love Jeemes Akers, and I appreciate him being with us tonight. Give him kudos. Give Cleo some kudos tonight. Give Eric, Karen. We've had a good week. We've had an excellent week of shows and guests, and we'll be back with more next week as we get on that Christmas train coming up a week from tonight. Don't be a Scrooge and a bah humbug. Be joyous, happy, and be generous, and give, and love, and rejoice. Because Christ is born. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there, and I'll see you back here. Next show will be Sunday, our Sunday morning meeting time program. If not tomorrow night, we'll try to be on tomorrow night. May the Lord bless you tonight. Have a good one. Take care of yourself out there. Good night.